Lab-grown diamonds have absolutely exploded onto the jewelry scene. I mean, they now make up nearly half of all engagement rings sold right here in the US. But with this meteoric rise comes a ton of confusion. Are they real? Are they a good investment? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today. Stick around, because we're going to demystify these modern marvels. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll figure out what these things actually are. Then, we'll see how they're made, lab versus earth. We'll get into the price, which is honestly staggering. After that, we'll tackle the really tricky question of value and resale. We'll look at how this is shaking up the entire market, and then we'll wrap it all up to help you figure out what your diamond story is going to be. So let's start with the most important question right off the bat. What is a lab-grown diamond, really? To get to the truth, we've got to cut through a whole lot of marketing noise and, frankly, misinformation. I love this analogy. Think about it for a second. Is the ice in your freezer any less real than the ice you'd find on a mountaintop? Of course not. It's the same stuff, H2O. It was just formed in a different place. This simple idea gets right to the heart of the whole debate. The answer to are they real is a loud, undeniable yes. And just to be crystal clear, a lab-grown diamond is not a fake. It's not a simulant like cubic zirconia. It is a diamond. It's got the exact same chemical makeup, the same physical properties, and the same optical sparkle as a diamond pulled from the ground. It's just as hard, it shines just as bright. The only thing that separates them is where their story began. Okay, so if their origin is the only real difference, you have to be wondering, how in the world does science replicate a process that takes Mother Nature billions of years and just unimaginable force to pull off? Well, it really comes down to two main recipes. The first is called HPHT. Think of this as the brute force method. It stands for high pressure, high temperature, and it does exactly what it says on the tin. It mimics the intense, crushing environment deep inside the earth. The second, more modern method is CVD, or chemical vapor deposition. This one is less about crushing and more about patiently growing a diamond, atom by tiny atom. So, the HPHT method is just pure power. You start with a tiny little diamond seed and you stick it in this massive press. Then you crank up the heat and apply just mind-boggling pressure. We're talking over 870,000 pounds per square inch. Under that insane force, a carbon source melts and literally crystallizes around that seed, growing into a new, flawless diamond. Now, the CVD method, that's more finesse than force. You put a diamond seed in a vacuum chamber and you pump in a gas that's full of carbon, something like methane. Then you blast that gas with microwaves, which creates the superheated plasma. This process strips the carbon atoms from the gas and they just rain down and deposit onto the seed, building up the diamond, one microscopic layer at a time. It's pretty amazing stuff. So why go through all this incredible scientific trouble? For the modern buyer, the answer usually comes down to one big, shiny thing: the price. And folks, the difference is truly wild. Just let that number sink in for a second. An 85% discount. That isn't just a sale, it is a complete and total game changer. It means the budget you have can suddenly get you a stone that's much, much larger or higher quality than you ever thought possible. Let's put some real dollars and cents on this. Right now, a good quality 1-carat natural diamond might run you about $4,200. A lab-grown diamond with the exact same specs, same cut, clarity, everything, about $1,000. That 4-to-1 price difference is the engine driving this entire market revolution. But of course, that massive upfront savings leads us directly to the biggest argument you'll hear against lab-grown diamonds. What happens to their value over the long haul? It's the logical next question, isn't it? If you're saving that much cash right out of the gate, there's got to be a catch on the other end, right? And this is where we have to look at the numbers really, really carefully. Now, if you just look at the resale percentages, the story seems pretty simple. A natural diamond holds on to about 60 to 80% of its value. A lab diamond, only 30 to 40%. Ouch. Case closed, right? Well, not so fast. That percentage does not tell the whole story. And here's the twist, the part that's a little counterintuitive. You need to stop thinking about the percentage you lose and start thinking about the actual dollars you lose. Yes, a lab diamond loses a higher percentage of what you paid. But because what you paid was so much lower to begin with, the actual cash you lose can be way, way less. Let's just walk through Sarah's choice here. She buys a beautiful 2-carat lab diamond for $2,400. An equivalent natural diamond would have cost her a whopping $14,000. Now, say she decides to sell it later. she gets back about $960. So she's lost about $1,400. Okay, but what if she'd bought the natural one? Even if she gets a great resale price, 70% back, her financial loss would be over $4,000. So in the end, by choosing the lab diamond, she actually lost nearly $3,000 less in real money. This new economic reality is having a huge effect. It's fundamentally reshaping the entire luxury jewelry market. I mean, it is a classic story of technology coming in and just completely disrupting tradition. And the scale of this shift is just incredible. Look at this. In the US engagement ring market, lab-grown stones now account for nearly half of all sales. Just think about that for a second. A product that was a tiny niche curiosity just a decade ago is now on the verge of becoming the #1 choice. That's wild. And it is not slowing down. The global market is projected to more than triple in the next 10 years, growing from around $30 billion to nearly $100 billion. This isn't just a trend. It is a seismic shift in a centuries-old industry. So what's fueling this absolute explosion? It's kind of a perfect storm of changing values. You've got younger buyers, millennials, and Gen Z, who are demanding more ethical and sustainable options. They also, want a bigger, more impressive stone for their money. And maybe most importantly, their whole definition of luxury is changing, moving away from old ideas about rarity and more toward personal meaning and modern tech. Which brings us to the final and I think the most important part of all this. What does it all mean for you? When you're the one standing there making the choice, how do you decide? Look, at the end of the day, it's not about which one is better. It's about what you value the most. A lab-grown diamond represents modern technology, affordability, and a story of human innovation. A natural diamond represents billions of years of geological history, a story of tradition, and the value of true rarity. The choice is all about which of those stories resonates more with you. And that leaves us with this one big, fascinating question for the future. For all of human history, a diamond's value has been tied to how rare it is in nature. But now, technology has made a physically perfect diamond something we can create over and over again. So as we all move forward, what will our culture choose to value more? The ancient story that's told by the earth, or the brilliant new story that's being told by human ingenuity?